Well, good morning, everyone, and good afternoon, and good evening.
All of the above.
All of the above, that's right. For some of us, it's nice and early in the morning. So Shona is drinking her water. I don't know how you do that and get through the day that way. I'll be drinking my cup of coffee. That's how I get through the day.
Well, I also have a wild ginger tea that I forage, so I'm on that too.
Okay, whatever. Coffee. Anyways, so happy day, everybody. I think we're going to get started here pretty quickly. I know there's a number of more people who will be joining us. And in a little bit, we're going to encourage you all to turn your cameras on because we want to see your bright and happy faces. And so great. So maybe, Senya, do you want to bring up the PowerPoint and we'll get started? By the way, everybody, that's Senya. Wave, Senya.
Hello, everyone.
Senya is making everything happen behind the scenes and is on an internship at Worldchefs. And so she's been amazing, just amazing.
Magic hands. We call her magic hands.
Yes. Yeah, she makes us all look good because I have no idea what I'm doing with all of this. So anyways, happy day, everybody. What I'd like to do is we have an hour together and Shona and I are going to be talking quite a bit about where we are with things, but really, and most importantly, I think we want to, after kind of an update, we really want to hear from you, how things are going, questions, ideas, comments, what's working for you, what's not working for you, etc. This is really just a time for us to connect and a time for us to share. Before I get going, though, I do want to say you just saw that wonderful little video montage of Congress, which starts in, I think, 12 days. And for those of you who are going, and if any of you are still on the fence about going, try to go. It's going to be amazing. And Abu Dhabi is nice and warm this time of year. But anyways, it'll be a great opportunity to get together. We haven't been there. We haven't seen each other in four years, which is just crazy. And one of the things I just want to call out is we will have a number of Feed the Planet sessions. There are sessions on education specifically, but we are going to have a time in the afternoon of the first day when we're going to have a breakout session, which is all about Feed the Planet, where we encourage all of you who are working on this, with us. Come over, say hello. If you're there in person, I would love to talk with you in person and contribute. So that's kind of a discussion format a little bit, and you'll hear a little bit more about some of the things we're working on. So if you can do it, come on by. We'd love to see you. All right, with that, so today, maybe we can just jump to the next screen, Senya. There we go. This is our agenda. So it's going to be really fast. We're going to talk about where we need to be by 2030. We have some big audacious goals. I think we probably shared these with you before, but these are developed along with our partners at Feed the Planet, Electrolux Food Foundation, and ISIC, as well as we work with Custom Culinary and a bunch of other folks as well. So this is our goal. This is where we want to be. We'll get to that in a minute. We'll talk about where we are today, how we're doing, and the big news of the day is bullet point, I guess, number 3. I guess it's not a bullet point, but whatever. And that's the upcoming launch of the sustainability education coming up. Shona and Shona a lot has been working on this. She's been taking point on this, and a number of people who are on this, who are joining us today, have been working on this. We'll talk about that and get them to say a few words today as well. And then we open it up and we talk. So that's the agenda. Let's jump to the next screen, please. Thank you. All right, there it is. there is the big audacious goal, 100,000 students educated by 2030. That is what we're trying to achieve. And that seems like a huge number. And it is a huge number, but we actually do believe it's possible. But it's going to take some work. And we've talked about this before, that, it's everybody on this, webinar, on this call, that is so instrumental to making this happen, because the more trainers we have, the more people we can reach. And then some of the people that you're training can then go on to be trainers. And that's how we grow this network. And each one of you has an incredibly pivotal role to play in that. But let's see where we are today. So if we can, there we go. All right, so our big goal, we're 5,613. It's probably a little more than that right now. Students that we've graduated. We've graduated 630 this year. We have 128 trainers. We have 10 new trainers. Any of the people who have joined us in the last, few months, at the end of this, I'm going to ask you just to introduce yourselves and say a couple words about you. But it's coming along. I mean, we've got 5,000. But if you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, how do we get to 100,000? I mean, we still have like 94,000 to go. And that's a big, audacious goal. So what we'd really like to spend our time talking about today is the next slide, which is, drum roll, please. Still drumming. Tanya, can we move to the next slide, please? Are we stuck with a print? There we go. Oh. All right, beautiful. So this is it. That was a big drum roll. So what we're doing is we are putting the education, the sustainability education modules that you have all, intimately, that you've taught from, we're putting it all online. And very much in the style of the Chefs Academy, because what we want to be able to do is make this available to everybody around the world, regardless of whether or not you have access to a trainer or not, and make it truly doable. So anybody can do this. And we believe, looking at the success of the Chefs Academy, that we can do this. So anyways, we worked on this quite a bit, and I have to just huge shout out to Shona. As I said, she really, I looked at Shona, I said, Shona, I'm just so busy. And Shona said, me too, but I'll do it. Thank you. And, worked really hard to take the curriculum that we have, to update it, to look at, what's making sense, excuse me, and what's not, make it more relevant. And then what we did is we took each of the days. So, think about like the big picture, right? The first one. And then what we did is we cut that into 3 smaller pieces, so that it's really accessible to everybody. And so you watch this and actually listen, because you will hear the voice of the ever amazing Shona on half of them, and my voice on the other half. And so we recorded them so that people can follow along, and then and listen to the PowerPoint presentations. And then at the end of each one of those little modules, those baby modules, there's a quiz. And so that way the students can test their knowledge at little points and not waiting for the end, for instance, of the big picture. It is a great thing. It is a great tool. We are launching it in 12 days. Right, Shona? Come on, tell me yes. No, we're launching it. We will have 6 of 8 modules completed by the start of Congress. And I think right now we've recorded 5 modules, and we have 3 more to go. And then of course we have Senya and other folks in the World Chefs office working their magic so that it really looks good, and all of the little bloopers that Shona and I make during our recordings are edited out, and we actually sound professional. Someday they're going to put a blooper reel together, and that's kind of scary. But anyways, so this is something we're incredibly excited about, and we're going to talk a lot more about this today. So there it is. So how do we go about this? Well, it wasn't just Shona, it wasn't just myself. What we did, is immediately reached out to a number of chefs who are, we're interested in helping with this process, because it's a lot of work. And then a whole bunch of content experts, because as we know, in the world of sustainability, it's so diverse, it's so broad, that there are, certain experts who are expert in a piece of sustainability. And we wanted to really be sure that what we were presenting was accurate, up to date, etc. Some of the people listed on here, I look at, for instance, Sheila and Richard and Anne. They worked on the original modules, way back when. And so it was really fun to reconnect, like with Richard, who I think is on here. He and I go way back for many years. And, he's an expert in all things food service equipment, energy, water, etc. So he helped develop the first modules. And then it was fun for him to come back and say, this is where we are today, a bunch of years later. What do we need to change, etc. And to get his knowledge and his wisdom. So those are all the folks who, big shout out to each of them, because without them, this would not have happened. And thank you to everybody. So with that, let's go to our next slide. And look at that. Those are some of the students, some of those 5,613 or 31, I don't remember, students who have taken this curriculum. And again, for the trainers on this call, this is where you play such a pivotal role. It is so important. So these are success stories that we have. And what's really fun, you can look at these students, and what I like to do is just look at one of them and just imagine what one motivated student can do to change the world, to change their immediate sort of surroundings. Think about the geometric effect of each one of those people that you have taught and what they're capable of doing. So with that, I think we're gonna end of PowerPoint. Now I just want to give you a quick update on where we are, but I'm gonna toss it over to Shona. And if we can bring up everybody on the screen so I can see everybody, that would be marvelous. And please turn your cameras on if you would, because it's nice to see you. So wow, this is like amazing. This is Worldchefs. Jonathan, you're walking. How fun. So anyways, Shona, I'm going to toss it over to you, and you're going to talk to and introduce some of the people who helped us on this. So thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Make sure, my mic is on. Hi, everyone. I wanted to do a little bit of an introduction, but sort of an introduction that's not your standard. Anyone who's worked with me, Daniel and Terry and so forth, no, I don't do traditional. I'm a little sort of outside the box. I wanted to introduce people and sort of tell me a little bit about the perspective of what you saw change or what you saw different. I've got something different for everyone. So Rodrigo, you are my first. We'll say that in a politically correct way. You are the big picture person. And I wanted to know, because you teach chemistry and you're a chef, what a combination, amazing for shaping our new topic of nutrition as well. What would you say helped you most in formatting this topic into where it needed to be? Because it was already existed.
It already existed, and this effort came after the dire warnings from the Climate Committee from the United Nations. So we had this sense of urgency toward the climate crisis. And I think that was the driver for this module. Not so much the population, which is a concern, of course, but the climate sense of urgency was the driver. And lots of data from the UN and related organisms. That's what we use for reshaping this module, and we changed the focus into trying to transmit the urgency of the climate crisis. That was the single most important change on the
Absolutely.
big picture.
What would you say if there were something that you'd say helped you with the nutrition? Because you also did nutrition. All of the chefs who worked on this did two separate, somewhat sometimes related. Rodrigo, yours were very different, your two topics. But with nutrition, would you say there's something supplementary that could help chefs if they needed more information? Or what would you suggest they use if they needed more than what we have there?
There's a lot of documentation there. I would send them, this is maybe an academia related problem, but I would encourage them to go read the latest research. I would send them to get papers from, say, Scopus or Google Scholar, and thus get into the latest developments, because this sustainable nutrition is a newish field. So that's what I would suggest.
That's perfect. Thank you. Did you want to introduce yourself a little? I kind of jumped into the meat and potatoes because, you know, I roll differently than everyone else, just so everyone knows from where you're speaking.
Well, I am from Chile. I am Chilean, but I am currently working and living in Ecuador, in the city of Puerto Viejo, where I teach pastry and international cuisine at a local university in gastronomy and in tourism. I was a software engineer before becoming a chef, and also a chemist, as you said.
Yeah, so really great diverse background. So it was great for having you for the big picture, and thank you so much. So I'm going to shift my view because I have to look at where I saw Daniel here. There you are, Daniel. So down in lovely sunny Jamaica, I wanted to say, what helped you being in Jamaica and where you're cooking and where you're living right now? How did this help you? Because you worked on the fish and seafood topic. How did that help you there?
Hi, that's a very big one. Seafood on the whole right now is a big issue. We can't get any more supplies, proper supplies and stuff like that. So for me, the whole sustainability really has, taken a different view, right? Because we have to make sure that we can. I work in the airline industry, and so once we do a menu, that menu basically runs for a year. So I can't just turn around and say, hey, we don't have any snapper today, use my. That's not how it works. So it becomes that we need to find fish and stuff which are sustainable, which we can serve on a consistent basis. So that's
very near and dear to what you're doing every day, right? So it was really easy for you to sort of sink your teeth into that and understand, you know, some of the problems and troubleshooting we have with finding sustainable fish as chefs and how we can teach that to people, right? Perfect. And you shared where you're from. Anything else you wanted to share about your background, just so people know?
Not really. I'm a chef for a couple of years now. I would say 30 odd years. I'm in Jamaica, which is very nice to work. And people believe I may go to the beach. That is not what's happening. I'm mostly in the kitchen.
That's right. That's the same. I worked at a golf course for 7 years, and I didn't golf till year 6. I didn't even see the outside sometimes, right?
And to be honest, I just joined the what you call the sustainable movement really a couple of years back, and I'm amazed. I'm still learning. Every day I'm learning.
Yeah, we all are.
To me, to do the new, what you call it, the new format and everything was very interesting. I had to go back and research certain things, and there's new data out there, and it's very interesting.
Yeah, it helps you grow as well. I mean, I always say 8 or 10 years ago, I probably wouldn't have been able to define sustainability. And here I am helping shape what we're teaching in curriculum. So people who feel they don't know enough, we really do. We really can. We're already doing it. We just need to put it into words, right? So now you can speak on fish and seafood and waste sustainability easily, right? Without having much worry, because you've done the work of going through it. So I'm going to shift my perspective now over to Terry. You are in a place where energy and water, you jumped on that topic as fast as, I'm not going to give the simile because they're never polite when I do them, but
Terry went into energy and water with full gusto, knowing that it had so much impact from where you are. Share a little bit about that and how it helped shape what you were doing with it.
Thank you, Shona. Yeah, I mean, I'm from Namibia, which is an extremely arid country. So to work on water was quite an interesting task as far as we're concerned, in the sense that it is one of our most precious resources. And it's a fantastic subject. The energy and water are linked, and they're not only linked to themselves, but they're linked to most of the other modules that we're busy with as well. Farming, animal husbandry, crop growing, agriculture, sea, the diversity of the oceans and the waterways. It's all linked together. So it's been a fantastic learning curve in the sense of delving even deeper into the subject matter itself and coming up with ways that we can actually teach it better and pass that knowledge on to future chefs. I think that's we have this fantastic opportunity to actually catch up what we should have started 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's the crux of the situation is we have started this the whole sustainability issue has only come to the front much later than it should have come to the front. And we always say, as chefs and as educators, we play the biggest role in ensuring that there is something for our future chefs and for for future generations. So in general, I mean, basically, it's a challenging situation we're in because the majority of people are lax about it and feel that it is somebody else's responsibility and that it doesn't affect them at this point in time. But it's something we need to really make people aware of, and we need to drive home that without being sustainable, we are heading for a disaster at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, Silver Spoon and myself are very much involved with the Young Chef Olympiad, which is organized by the British Hospitality Council and the International Institute of Hotel Management in India. And we were having a forum and a discussion during the last competition, which was in February. And Professor David Forskett is actually considering removing single-use plastic from the competition to drive home that the sustainability side of our profession. So there's a growing awareness of
Absolutely.
why it's so important for sustainability to be at the forefront of catering.
Yeah. Another piece that we put in, and this was with everyone, we really all agreed that we needed a call to action for every single topic. We needed everyone to walk away with something saying, so what can I do right away, right now? What can these people that we've taught? And so you'll see in these modules now, it's not, here's information, take from it what you will. No, here are your next steps. This is what you need to work on to try and move forward with this, right? So really positive. And people, I'm going to look over to Richard Young, who worked on this the first time round, and this is your second. You really helped us with that call to action in finding tools that helped shape what people can do next. What do you see as the big changes in these sort of two topics when you were working with them from the last time you did them?
I would say that the big change is that now the whole industry is waking up and listening to what Terry has just said so eloquently, that you're starting to understand that all of your raw materials come from the environment, and that the very act of cooking, holding, and refrigeration impacts the environment. You know, it's a loop there, and that it's very important to look at everything as a system. And people are starting to wake up. And of course, there's also this notion, which finally is taking hold within food service, of decarbonization, you know, of starting to move the carbon out of your kitchens, that we have to do this. And it's just been easy for food service operators for many years to say, well, that's somebody else's problem. I've got to, I've got an emergency today. Nobody showed up in my kitchen, and I can't get the snapper, and and now I think folks are starting to wake up and say, hey, this starts with everybody, and probably since the last time to this time, one of the things that's evolved is that we now have a lot more knowledge, and so we were able to bring more of that into the training modules. All the work that we do. So everybody, I'm in Northern California, where it's 5:25 in the morning. So
Thank you for joining us. You're looking great.
Early.
You would never know it.
It's early in the morning. And I work at a facility that's a lab and education and research, and we're celebrating our 35th anniversary. And it's just been the last few years where now everybody's saying, hey, we really got to get on board. So that's very rewarding.
Yeah, you actually test and see where our most energy efficient equipment is and what makes it so, and get down to the nitty gritty details. So you can just hand that information off to us in a beautiful package, and we put a lot of that information into the curriculum, which is so fantastic. It's really made Terry and mine's job much more fulfilling, much more robust, so that we can pass this on to everyone, right? So thank you for that. I am looking now to, it's like romper room now, trying to find people. Jonathan, are you there? Because I wanted to speak with you about waste management. I see it. Oh, you're
I'm
still
here.
walking.
I promise I'm paying attention, but I'm walking
okay.
the dog. I'm trying not to be on Zoom for 12 hours a day anymore.
Okay, good. That's all good. That's all good. Outdoors is way
well,
better.
at least on Zoom, but also moving at the same time.
Yeah, get your body moving is so important, as we learned in our nutrition module. So, Jonathan, you led the James Beard Foundation National Curriculum Effort on Food Waste Reduction for Chefs and Culinary Educators. That's a mouthful. You've done extensive knowledge on this subject. What task do you think we should really be focusing on based on this sort of work we've done about food and waste reduction? Sort of, what do you think the major things we need that we have to do that shift in for food waste right now?
Yeah, I think food waste is a really unique topic in this curriculum because so much of sustainability for chefs is new learning. So, in culinary school, I got zero on sustainable seafood and energy and plastics and all these other topics. And so a lot of it is very much chefs absorbing new knowledge from environmental sciences and toxicology and all these other fields. Food waste is a little bit the reverse, right? Because every good chef knows about minimization, streamlining inventory, using byproducts, repurposing leftovers. So this is an opportunity, I think, for chefs to sort of take the lead and to say to our peers, this is what you should be doing if you're a policy person or an environmental scientist or a food waste minimization advocate. These are the lessons I learned in the kitchen that I can help inform the broader landscape and the broader conversation. And I think that's a really important balance, right? So it's not just about, oh, chefs need to be smarter, we need to learn better, we need to do better practices, but
sharing up.
Chefs can really lead the conversation here.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's super. We do know. And that's the one thing that most chefs that I've spoken with, and most people that are maybe a little afraid of doing the training or how to lead this, I say, well, you know about food waste. Like, oh yeah, I already know about that. So that gives them a foothold. You're absolutely right to share upwards because they have that information. They have that knowledge already. That's a super share. Thank you. And you are where right now? Outside, I understand, but
well, right now I'm walking Major Tom. I'll show you. Oh, I don't know how to do the camera flip. Here he is. But I am in the suburbs of Philadelphia. I teach at Drexel University, Culinary Arts and Food Science.
Cool. Thank you very much, Jonathan, for sharing.
Thank you.
We also had Jihan, who wasn't able to be with us right now. She's teaching at the moment. Jihan Sawani from Jordan, and she teaches full time, and she did a lot with our Food Farm Care Canada to update our animal husbandry and our agriculture. So that's sort of the big picture. Chris, I don't think I've missed anyone. I sort of wanted to make a robust intro without it being, this is my name and this is what I do. Because I think sharing how it's changed and what impact and how it changed is way more impactful for our people who are on today. I'm going to pass it back to you, I think.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And there's actually one other person to call out, which is who is Sheila Bowman.
Is she on here?
No, she's not. But
okay, yes. Oh, yeah.
Sheila,
we have a few other folks. Yeah.
Yeah, there's other. What was Sheila is a little bit like Richard. She's with the Monterey Bay Aquarium, and she wrote the first module on seafood. Mm-hmm. And then we called her back up, and she graciously also said, "Yep, I'll work on it again."
Jumped in and happily helped, right?
Yeah,
it was great.
Yeah. So lots of really wonderful people who contributed. So, anyways, look forward to it. It's coming out, and before we sort of get into just talking a little bit, is there anybody on this who's on today who is a new trainer who's joined us? I don't know, in the last say 3 to 6 months. Anybody on here who is, just unmute yourself?
Yeah, I am Chris. I do anything Chris says, and so I really honestly knew nothing about World Chefs, but Chris introduced me, and I'm happy to help however I can be useful.
Awesome, thank you. Anybody else? I saw some hands raised, I think.
David.
Yeah, I'm in Whitby, Ontario. I saw Shona's post about the World Chefs, and so I took the initial course, and we are a green certified school, like with the Green Restaurant Association. So it only makes sense to implement this into our curriculum starting in September. So I'm looking forward to that.
Wow, that's super exciting.
Yeah, he's going to come visit me sometime at Humber and share what we do at Humber so we can do more of that.
So, and David, you're in Toronto also?
I'm just east of Toronto in Whitby, Ontario.
Okay, right. Okay, got it. Yeah, I was just up in Toronto for, what was it,
12
hours, Shona? Just to do some recording and filming for the intros of this whole thing we're doing. Ken Burke, did I say that right? Did you have your hand raised?
Hello, folks. Janberg, yeah, but yeah, it's not a very common name, so I don't expect to be pronounced properly. So hello, everyone. We also teach, let's say, HoReCa professionals to project management, and also focusing on farm to fork strategies. So just not focusing on the kitchen and where it cooks. Actually, we are going a little bit, to the source where it comes from, and try to also conscious people around that strategy with the new, let's say, the European Commission's strategy also. It's been out recently, actually. We're looking at from that angle. I just also recently joined to you guys 2 months ago. I'm familiar with the content, so I'm looking forward to apply it with the content we have to around Portugal and Spain, let's say.
That's great. And you're in Madrid, is that right?
In Madrid, yeah. Mostly. We are mobile, also we're traveling, but based in Madrid, yeah.
Wonderful.
I think
well, thank you.
Montessor had his name up too. Chef Masood. Your mic is off.
Good afternoon. Good morning to everybody. I would like to thank you for everybody to have a meeting like this in time to time to know each other, what you do, what is learn from you, chef. I would like to say I already have 27 sessions already to the people, 1,600 already done to Arab people, from English to Arab. The chef he knows very well. 27 wave. It's not easy for to transfer the knowledge and transfer the new ideas and transfer the how to save everything to people. I also have my assistant with me. It's Wafa. She always support me to collect people, to collect name, to send the sheet to Mrs. Lena. She worked very hard because some people you don't know how to use it. Email and also Chef Hassuna, he knows this. You do something. You get new ideas for Arab country and you transfer. Now you have idea you call in Egypt and you call in Middle East 2030 visions, and people now he knows what he say. If you talk with the chef now, he knows what you chef. Thank you for transfer the knowledge from you. We need from you a lot of support to Arab people, to chef in Egypt, to all country from Khalid to until the Morocco. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Eric, I see you have a hand up. And before I ask you to speak, I just for everybody here, think about, how, you saw the big audacious goal that we have. One of the things I'd love to hear from you on this morning or afternoon or wherever is how do we grow this even more? How do you attract more students? And like for some of you who are in culinary schools, how could you attract industry people as well to come in? Chefs, people working, etc. Just how do we grow that? Just a thought. But Erica, please, you have your hand up.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much. I think it's the first time I actually joined one of these meetings. Can you actually hear me?
Perfectly.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm from South Africa, and I've been in the teaching industry for very long, and also in the business industry. And I actually got interested in food, specifically with the sustainability. Is when I worked with the big groups, training the basically cooks, not chefs. Training them to do more like takeaway foods, but healthy foods. And so I saw the wastage. It was just, it's horrific. And with South Africa, at this stage now, even worse after COVID, 50% unemployment, also in the hospitals where we work a lot. We see a lot of underfed children. So there is such a huge gap to get these people involved, specifically in the chains, the food chains, to sort of get this, this waste through to the poor people. So if we can actually just train, I think the biggest thing is to get the food chains, the big food chains involved, where people, it's horrible to see how much they waste. So if we can get them involved and do it and maybe give them some incentives, that's why I have started a NPO, because if you can give the owners a bit of an incentive where they can have tax perks, and say, okay, if we do the funding for you, then we can actually put the guys on internships and then train them as interns, maybe for a year. So in other words, this shouldn't just be a training session for like, look, this is great, this is a wonderful beginning, but if we could do a constant type of training for them and get these guys on a 1-year internship, and then this is totally tax deductible at the end of the day for the companies. So that's what I'm working on now. So just to get this, to get the guys that they can actually invest. But then there's also an advantage for them, not just from the heart, because, business people are different. You can go and get your own training. You should have been trained, things like that. But if we can actually get them invested in our beliefs, so to say, not that it's just only our beliefs, but it's just a mindset in South Africa that, that's how it is. So we have to get them more involved and get them incentivized to actually get their guys trained. Because also a big problem with us is underpayment. I don't know if it's like, I know it is like that in many other countries, but these guys that work in the chain stores, specifically in the retail chain stores, very, very underpaid. So they cannot go and do proper training for themselves. They get taken from the streets. So that's what I'm saying. I'm really working very hard to get this incentive to the chain stores.
This is a really interesting comment. Erica, thank you, because we've had some of those discussions at kind of the World Chefs, sort of brainstorming level, and interestingly, especially with the digital tool now, that may be more possible than ever. That we could work with a very large entity, and they could make it, in the last Congress in Malaysia, we talked about, making some of these things like waste management a KPI, part of your everyday business metrics that you look at, right up with, profitability and hours and labor and all that. And, it would be very interesting to see if we could engage a large company, especially with something that's digital, so that their people could do it on their own time frame.
Yes.
And I also think, Erica, your comment on sort of the continuation is something that we need to think about, because once we get a lot of people through this initial curriculum, what's next? What keeps them engaged? And that's Senya, put that down as a discussion point for later, please. Thank you. Anybody else? Just
Lila has her hand up there.
Oh yes, hello, please.
Hello from Greece.
Hi, Greece.
So I gave a speech some months ago inside an exhibition, a Greek exhibition for HoReCa professionals, and what I found out is that there is a huge lack of general knowledge for HoReCa business. So when it comes to sustainability, it is like a luxury subject to refer. So most of them, they didn't know actually cost recipes, how to cost recipes, either speaking for chefs or restaurant businessmen. So it's not only chefs or cooks or all the levels of the culinary professionals. There are also the restaurant businessmen who are unaware of the subject, and they don't exactly want to go into this subject now because it sounds too expensive. But what I also found out is that there are many companies and institutions that they are very much interested in finding a way to deliver this content, the food waste and the sustainability content, through tutors, through spokespeople, in exhibitions, in courses, in talks, conferences, and they are very much interested. So I believe that maybe it is a time to reach this type of connections, instead of going to those who are not very willing immediately, maybe through extensive speeches everywhere, the proper message will be sound.
These are great comments. I would also say that, when it comes to the people who are resistant, and there's plenty of them, and for exactly what you said, it's too expensive, I don't have time for this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I would always, point them to the easy stuff. But the stuff that is really obvious, like if you manage waste properly, it only helps your business. Or, to take a moment and look at Richard Young and where he's at. They published some really fascinating data on different pieces of equipment in the kitchen. And he will demonstrate to you why it's a better idea to buy a more sustainable piece of equipment, because what happens is up front it costs a little more money, and so everyone goes, oh, I can't afford that, that's bad business. But then he will show you over the life of that product how much money you actually will save if you make that sustainable decision. So there's stuff that we can do to and you're right, because if you go to just straight business people and say, but it's good for the planet, they're like, whatever, I have a business to run. But if you say, no, but you can be sustainable and it saves you money, now they're interested.
Then they'll listen.
Terry, you have your hand up. Excuse me.
Yeah, Chris, just to build on what has been said already. Here in Namibia, what we've got with our Hospitality Association, they've introduced an award system called the Eco Awards. So lodges and hotels and restaurants, they are then graded, and according to how sustainable they are with waste management, with water conservation, and so on, they are awarded so many flowers. They're using a flower system. So you've got one flower if you've achieved a certain goal in using solar energy. You get a second flower for your waste management, and a third flower for water management, and so on. So we're selling the sustainability curriculum as a means of improving their ability to win these awards, because ultimately at the end of during every year they're graded, and the awards are handed out at a huge ceremony, and the whole of the hospitality fraternity is there, and that's helping us to be able to promote sustainability in remote areas where it's not really considered. So now lodges are actually being encouraged to become sustainable, and we are then backing that up by saying we can assist by training your staff. So it's not just the owner or the lodge manager that is pushing the sustainability from their side. We actually helping educate their staff and educate the personnel that are actually responsible for making sure that those goals are achieved. So in that sense, we're trying to really push this and promote it from our side, and educate individuals that would not normally have been educated in sustainability.
That's amazing.
That's something.
That's amazing. It just makes me think for a second when I hear what you all are doing. And Senia also, to put as a note, somehow we need to capture this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're making a speech somewhere, or Terry, you're doing this, that we're using this curriculum to advance people's ability to be certified. I mean, this is amazing stuff. And I think one of the reasons I love to do this is we get to hear what's happening, which makes me feel really good. But
Mm-hmm.
but aside from that, it really demonstrates, I think, to everybody else, how maybe we can think about things differently based on what we're hearing. So translated, we need to hear from you. If you're doing stuff like this, you please tell us. Send us
share.
let Lynn or Senia know at Worldchefs Central, what you're doing, please, because I would love to broadcast that to the world. And quite frankly, as we're going into Congress and I have to give a report to everybody about what we're doing, these kind of things are really important. So please send us these things as you do them.
I saw Eric mention in the chat that he's new to being a trainer as well in the last month or so. Yeah.
Yeah. Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening. Can say actually I just get the official badges last month, and currently what I'm doing in Malaysia here, which is I told Lynn and Senia before, which I'm actually need to translate the previous version, the previous comprehensive versions of all the PPT to Mandarin or Chinese language in Malaysia, so I can able to teach my student. And of course, in other way, maybe I will be work together with the local chef associations. Maybe we will need to translate another language to our local Malaysian language, to the Malay. So this is what we are going to do. So I'm not sure, because currently what I'm working with, which is with the previous PPT that I got. So maybe once the Fit Planets already have the updated, so I need to do another translate.
Yeah, it won't
So
be
this is what
so
I'm
heavy
doing
because
currently in Malaysia.
yeah, it just won't be too many changes, Eric, because you'll have most of the content already. It's more updating stats and some of the information and a few of the slides. It's not so different that you have to start over again. I see Lila said the same. She did the same in Greek, which is super. People are doing it all over the world. That's something else, Chris, we should be sharing back. If people are able to and they've done a translation, I'm sure there's places here in Canada that they'd love to have it in Mandarin as well, or in Cantonese or in Malay, because we have populations of them right here in Toronto, right? So
this is a great question, and to your point, Shona, I saw Lila's comment over here, and yes, so and Senya, one more thing to put down as a follow-up is we need to capture translations because and I know that we've done some of that work already, but I'm not sure if we've known about all of them. Because that's critical, right? I mean, we put it in English because English is sort of the international language, but we also know that most cooks in most countries are not speaking English, right? So we need to be sure that we are able to reach as many people as possible. And Eric, if you've taken the time to put it in Mandarin, wow, that opens up I don't know, 1 billion people. So we can reach our goal like instantly.
Next week.
Just because of Eric.
I'll try my best. I'll try my best to complete as soon as possible because my upcoming classes to my student will be on June holiday because it's actually in the school holiday. So, and then I'm actually trying to put it into my core curriculum subject as well in next year. This is what I'm trying. So if let's say the school did not approve yet, so I just only can do like we so-called like a summer camp or a summer camp thingy to the student to do like a week every day 2 hours for them.
Yeah,
this is what I can do.
That's great.
Eric, where are you at in Malaysia? Which school?
KL. I'm actually in the Confucian Private Secondary High School, which is all the young chef around 16 to 18 years old before they go to their university.
Impressive.
Jean has her hand up there.
Jean, yes. Hi.
She's looking for.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, I'm Jean from the Philippines. Thank you again for inviting us here. My student response for our sustainability training education. So I gave them a template of food waste management. There is a column for a person who logged in, and then a column for the amount of the food waste and also the category, and the last part is the response. And I encourage my students, since we are still attending online classes, I encourage my students to ask their family to join in logging food waste. Unconsciously, their family members become aware because we believe that discipline begins at home. And aside from that, we also continue to do the 3 R's, the reduce, reuse, and recycle. Home container gardening. If I have 70 attendees or almost 100 attendees before, so I ask them to plant at least 2, 1 herb and 1 vegetable, so multiply it. So it's good.
That's great.
I also ask them to compost. Of course, their food waste can be used as compost for to give the nutrients to their plants, no? And last one is I ask them to do or to create a simple plant-based recipe at home.
Great. Sounds exactly like what I'm doing too. It's great. That's so wonderful, Jean.
More on, thank you, vegetables and fruits. That's all. Thank you.
And I'm going to say it again. We've got to capture all this because
Yeah.
there's so much going on
what
around the
we're
world. This
doing.
is
Yeah,
so
it's so
encouraging.
wonderful.
Yes.
It's nice to see and hear that people are doing same things in parts of the world, but I don't want it to be silos that no one hears about, right? We want it to be shared and more people to say, this is what we need to be doing, not what it's a nice to do, right?
Absolutely. How about how are the digital badges working out for you and certificates? And do the people who finish your trainings, is a digital badge something they really look forward to? There we go. Sorry, I was muted for, I guess, for a second. Did you hear what I said?
Yep.
Oh, good. Okay.
Paolo?
Yeah. So what we did, we kind of, because of the nature of our business, we're on the commercial side of education. We took all the information and built. We used Teams on. We built all the information in Teams, so we could have live conversations backwards and forwards, where the guys could ask questions. We could put more relevant information on, etc. And we gave them an 8-week window because to give them that little bit of more flexibility because of the time frame, and we couldn't say, well, you have to do this in a week and everything else because people falling in sick, etc. You know yourself. But they seem to be really. It's kind of when they got this, that our first batch have only just finished, and they got the certificates, and it was like they just won the gold medals in Olympics.
Yeah.
Everybody was really
holding
excited.
it up and
So it really
right?
had that really good kick to, because basically it was our trial to see if we could roll it out to the rest of the business and to get more momentum onto it. But yeah, and I think that the badges and the certificates really played a big thing in it, and there was a real sense of pride and information. They said Chris was a bit quirky on his conversations on it, like, but they were it was really good. It was a nice thing to get at the end of it, and no one's come back with anything negative yet. They've all said, "Oh, we've learned something new from this." Oh, I didn't know that. I've been doing that all the time, but never kind of joined the dots
Put
together.
into words.
Like, so,
Yeah. That's great.
I think it was exceptionally well done, and the certificate is, I suppose, the cherry on the cake for a lot of our people.
Yeah, that's great.
Terry,
that's a quote to keep.
I can affirm to what Paolo has just said, because here in Namibia, the staff, especially in remote areas, if they get something at the end of a course or the end of the training session to say that they've completed it and it's done, it makes them that much more eager to actually put what they've been taught into practice. So it's the digital badge and the certificates. It's a fantastic add-on, and it just makes everyone that we train that much more interested in obtaining or completing the course, gaining the knowledge, and then implementing it in their workplace. And also the managers and the owners of the businesses, they then see that there has been something has been achieved, and they can hold their student or their staff and the students accountable for that and say, but you have been trained. Now let's put everything into practice. Let's do what you have been trained to do. So there is that accountability from both sides. There's the student needs to motivate the reason why he achieved a certificate or a badge, and the employer has something to say, but you have been given the training. Let's now see the results of that training. So it's a win-win for everyone.
That's great. So in interest of time, because we have 2 minutes.
Oh, wait. It flies, right?
It does. We need to do these every week. I'm just joking.
Yeah. They wouldn't be as special then. I definitely wouldn't be as fun.
Shona, is there anything else you wanna say? Because you've done so much work on this.
No, I look forward to seeing our finished product and delivering it out. I hope you all share, use, and be a part of this. If you have feedback on it or any great tools that you use, please send them back to us because we can share them with everyone, like finding ways to do an energy or water audit, or how you shaped your assignment for doing that recipe challenge, Jean, things like that. We can put into sort of a toolbox, and then the chefs can have these, or whoever's delivering it, whether they're from Worldchefs or otherwise, how they can share this information in meaningful ways and help the course be more robust. Because some people, you're doing it online. Some people, you're doing it in a business. Me, I'm doing it right in a restaurant in the college. So there's all kinds of ways it's being delivered. So sometimes those tools, you need it just to make the course a little bit more engaging. So if you have those, I would say share those back if you found something that's really worked well. I'm putting a roster of things that I found worked well for the groups that I've worked with. And then we have those if you need them. If you're finding you just don't have enough based on the content, you want more, then let us know or share back. That would be my big takeaway.
I would agree. I'm always so upbeat because now I can't complain because Richard's been up for 2 hours earlier than me. So I really can't complain, but you know, I get up really early for these, and every time it's a real feel good, quite frankly. So thank you all for the work you're doing. Keep spreading the word. You know, spread the word. You know, to other professionals, other people who you think should be trainers. If there are people you've taught who you know are really fascinated and on fire with this. Maybe they can think about being a trainer. You know, again, we have that big goal. We got to get there. And so anything you can do to grow this, share your stories. I mean, I'm thinking about what I'm going to say at Congress because I have to give this report.
There's so much. You're going to have to keep it tight.
Well, listening to your stories, I'm kind of reformulating my plan a little bit. So send those stories because I would love to you know, because when I do this report, just so you all know, I mean, it's to all the presidents of all the you know countries that we represent and work with as World Chefs. So I mean, it's a big global stage, and there's nothing I would like more than to highlight some of your successes and
really shine,
some of what you're doing. Truly.
Chris, I just had one question just before we go. All the content we're creating, and I should have asked this before being live on air with all of these people who are trainers already. The voiceovers we've done and the pieces that we've put together, these are going to be the things that we share back that people are going to be able to use to deliver themselves as well, right? Am I correct on that? Or is it just going to the Culinary Academy like that?
That's a good question.
Okay. So we'll find that out because I don't know that. I realized that today.
Yeah, we're all just, you know, finding our way here. So
we're making our way through topic by topic, honestly. So,
we are, you know.
Sorry, Chris, that was just I didn't want it to pass and have, if anyone else was wondering what it will look like or how it'll come to them, because they need the new content, but how does that look like and what does it look like when they get it, right? I guess is the big question.
Yeah. All right. We'll work on that.
Cool.
Yeah, because it probably won't be cut up in little pieces. We'll talk about that. It'll be original modules. So, okay, everybody, have a great rest of your day. Richard, good morning to you, and Paolo. No, who is in no, not Paolo. Who's in the Philippines? It was
Jean's in the Philippines. Eric over there. That's
Jean.
Good evening.
So you're getting ready to go to sleep. Anyways. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, everybody. Thank you for all your work, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for all your help and contributions on this as well.
Thanks, both of you, for your leadership in this. It's important.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.